Hello everyone who is watching this video. I will make some videos. I hope that every day to read an article in English every day. I just want to practice my English a little bit and try to train my face expression in front of the camera like this. I'm looking for an article to read, and we can have very random topics, sports, economic, everything that I feel keen on, and I will do that. Today I got an can you see it? Oh my god, too much light right there. It's from CNN, an article about sports, yes, and I will read it, just read, and I hope that it can give you something insightful, something interesting. I don't know that if we have any kind of copyright problem right here. Just want to read and practice. So anyway, hope it will go down well. And the title of the article: Opinion, I'm a transgender player in a women's hockey league, and that's exactly where I belong. So we'll get into it. We have an editor's note. Danielle McLean is a trans woman playing women's hockey in the Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia region. She is a senior editor at the news publication Smart Cities Dive and an at-large member of the Society of Professional Journalists Board of Directors. The views expressed here are the author's own. We'll read it. Let's see how her opinion is about. Between rounds of chemotherapy during my senior year of high school, as I battled Hodgkin's lymphoma, I still practiced and competed in games on the boys' varsity ice hockey team. Chemo had completely worn my body down. I could only last a single 1-minute shift during each 3-period game before the muscles in my legs began to feel as if they were pushing through my skin. But during those brief few minutes of playing time, I felt free, whole, as if my troubles did not exist. After graduating from college, I moved from my parents' home to an apartment on the outskirts of Boston. I had the support of my amazing family and a small group of friends, but I still felt isolated and sad, as if I were climbing an insurmountably steep mountain alone. Hockey took on even greater meaning in my life after I began my male to female gender transition over a decade ago. After I started transitioning, a large number of my childhood friends rejected me. The first couple of years during my transition were tough. During one particularly rough 3-month period, I posed as a man at work while living my true identity outside it. Throughout my transition, I remained active in my sport. I tried playing adult men's beer league hockey at first, but I didn't feel safe physically since I was playing against large bodies as my own body was rapidly changing and losing muscle mass. And playing in that league only added to my anxiety since I didn't feel comfortable expressing my true identity in front of my teammates. I was certain that my male teammates wouldn't accept my transition. I felt like a complete outsider as I had something to hide every time I stepped into the locker room, whether I was covering up the physical changes I was experiencing because of transitioning or lying about my life off the ice. 2 years after starting hormones, I joined a local adult women's hockey team in the Boston area. That's when everything started to change for me emotionally and socially. My teammates, with whom I shared a love of our sport, became a core part of my new social circle. Most of them knew that I was trans, but didn't care. They accepted me as one of their own. For whatever reason, perhaps because our connection was not anchored in superficial ideas of masculinity, they loved me for me. Through the recreational women's hockey league that I competed in, I was able to build a new support system. That includes some of my best friends and my amazing partner of 3 years. Over the years, I've gone to teammates' weddings and baby showers and supported them through some of the hardest moments of their lives. Our sports connection has provided me with community and a social support system, but it's also given me much more. Women's hockey has allowed me to escape my anxieties and let out my frustrations. Transitioning is one of the hardest things I've ever faced in my life. The outlet of women's hockey saved me. A 2021 survey by the Trevor Project, a non-profit focused on suicide prevention in LGBTQ youth, found that more than half of transgender and non-binary youth considered taking their own lives over the previous year. I've personally spoken to several trans and gender non-conforming people who considered or attempted suicide. I even dissuaded one friend, a trans woman, who announced their suicidal intentions on social media from harming themselves on the phone one difficult night. In my experience, the anxieties that the vast majority of trans people feel are not based on regret, but rather on whether they will ever be accepted in their true identities. They also experience discriminations, harassment, poverty, and challenges accessing transition related medical treatment, as well as lacking a sense of affirmation. Today's politics, in which our very identities are being targeted by malicious discourse and discriminatory legislation, have only made things worse. About a dozen states, including Oklahoma, Arizona, Iowa, and Florida, have passed laws banning trans athletes from participating in sports teams consistent with their gender identity. These laws really only target young trans kids in school who are looking to express themselves, play sports with their friends, or who, like me, escape their anxieties through competition. Politicians who try to make argument of trans athletes make it seem as if they are taking over sports. But Utah's Governor Spencer Cox noted when he vetoed such a ban in his state recently, there are 75,000 kids playing high school sports in his state. Only four are transgender, and just one plays girls sports. Four kids who aren't dominating or winning trophies or taking scholarships. Four kids who are just trying to find some friends and feel like they are a part of something. Four kids trying to get through each day. Rarely has so much fear and anger been directed at so few, Cox said in his remarks last month. I don't understand what they're going through or why they feel the way they do, but I want them to live. His veto was overridden by Utah's Republican-controlled legislature. Gov Cox is right that trans women and youth are not dominating women's and girls' sports the way the supporters of these bills would lead you to believe. One recent study by the British Journal of Sports Medicine found that trans women in the US Air Force had only slightly faster running speeds and indistinguishable muscle mass compared to their cisgender peers after 2 years of hormones. The report's authors also said trans teens who took puberty blockers and estrogen probably have no advantage at all. People who oppose allowing trans girls and women to play on women and girls teams offer no realistic alternative. During the times I've competed against men since transitioning, I've been physically dominated in front of the net and even tore my knee during one fight for the puck. And critics also leave out the fact that a lot of cisgender women are really good at sports. I've been playing hockey since I was 4, it's a huge part of my life. Yet, There are a number of players on my team who are larger and stronger than I am. I often have trouble keeping up with the much faster and more skilled women's hockey talent I've played with and against. In addition to playing in a regional women's hockey league, I play on Team Trans, a collection of some 50 trans and gender non-conforming hockey players in the US and Canada. The team has only competed together a couple of times since its inception a few years ago because of the COVID-19 pandemic and the geographic distances between players who are scattered throughout North America. I and other trans women would like to be the best we could be at the top levels of the sports we've spent our entire lives training for. That means competing with and against other dedicated women athletes. No athlete should be subjected to abuse from politicians, online trolls, and international news outlets for competing in the sport they love. They should not have to feel as though they are letting down their community or being placed in a fishbowl of hate when they achieve a level of success. I don't know how NCAA swimmer Leah Thomas has managed to cope with the venom directed at her after winning a single event at the NCAA D1 National Women's Championship last month. Analysis breaking down her physique and her body chemistry have been splashed over the fronts of national publications and covered by news outlets, including CNN. Thomas is just an athlete in her early 20s competing in the sport she has trained for her entire life. While commentators claim to care about women's sports, there's little coverage of the successes of her non-trans competitors during those meets. She becomes the target of criticism from people as powerful as Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, and a possible future presidential contender. I can't imagine it's been easy for her. The anti-trans invective against Thomas is offered as evidence that she, a person trying to battle gender dysphoria, is less than woman. This disgusting hate could send trans athletes down a dark emotional road that way too many have gone down in the past, a path of dejection and despair. I pray that this debate is only a flashpoint in time and that opportunities for trans athletes to fight peace through sports in the face of sometimes grueling life experiences is not taken away. More than anything, I want trans kids to be able, as I have, to find love and support through sports, even after their friends and family support dissolve off the field, court, pool, or ice. I know that some trans people are staying in the closet and possibly contemplating suicide because of terrible unfair laws being passed around the country. I pray they continue to live and that things will one day get better. Oh yeah, that's the end of the CNN's article titled, let me see, I'm a transgender player in a women's hockey league and that's exactly where I belong. It is an opinion article from Daniel McLean. I think it's a very insightful and it's not only personal but it is a universal story for many people in the US, especially the trans women. It's very good. So this is like the first episode of a series. I hope that to create a series where I will read articles in English. I will try my best to, as I mentioned, train myself to express the emotion in my face, on my face, and yeah, my English. You can hear that there are so many things I can still improve. Anyway, that's for today. I hope that you guys can take something from this and I'll see you the next time. Peace out.